What's up, guys?
What's up, Spencer?
What's up, Spencer?
BJ, it looks like Joe's on the same workout grind like you are, man. He's down 60 over there.
He's showing me up, man. I saw him in the press box.
I'm like, Joe, where'd you drop off the other half of your body? I'm like,
I used to wear double XL sweatshirts, and I bought a sweatshirt the other day that was large.
come
It
on.
was a great feeling. I skipped XL entirely.
We're getting close, man. I'll tell you what, I had a good quarantine. I think I put on about 30, so I had to slowly pull that down, man. So I get you on that.
You got a kid now, man. It gets tougher.
Oh, there's no question. Oh, yeah, boys. Living that one.
I think KTVB might be streaming this live, and I don't think the Bronco fan base cares about me and BJ. So, Spencer, let's go ahead and get you introduced. I'm going to hit record now. I'm going to start this with the voice of the Broncos, Bob Beeler. So I'm going to hit record now, and we'll start with Bob and get rolling.
Well, Spencer,
Recording in progress.
Spencer, so happy to see that you're staying. I know you've had opportunity, I think, to go to Auburn. What made this attractive for you?
Thanks, Bob. And first and foremost, for me, after the season was done and being named the interim head coach and going through it, I absolutely love this place. But more importantly, I absolutely love our players. And it was something that I was just after, I'm a man of faith and I was praying about and just really felt convicted. I really want to see this process through with our players. And if there's an opportunity to stay and be here with the right people, I want to do it. But the whole time I was just, all I could stop thinking about was our players. I want to do the job I was given to finish this thing the right way. And I wanted to do that. And then whatever it looked like at the end, I was ready to live with whatever consequences those were. So very, very obviously fired up how it turned out. But the whole time there wasn't some secret plan. And it was one of those things. I want to do this the right way. I'm going to be here for our kids. I love this place dearly. And at the end of the day, I'm going to trust that.
Spencer, what would you envision your defense looking like? What would a Spencer Danielson defense look like taking shape next year in the season?
Thanks, Bob. No, the first and foremost, what our defense is going to look like when you guys are watching film, to me, is relentless. Like I want when you guys are watching, hopefully in the stands or wherever we're at, it looks like we got 30 football players on defense out there. We're there, just absolutely relentless. And there's tons of things that go with that, and I completely understand it. But from the top down, from our mentality, we're going to be relentless, and we are going to, when you watch us, it should jump off of film, first and foremost. And then as we get going, we're going to be relentless. We're going to be technically sound, physical, all these different things. But what I'm going to preach to our players when we see them one more time, when we see them here initially starting next week, is when you step out on that field, whatever you're doing, if you're stretching, if you're doing whatever, we are going to be a relentless defense.
Next up, Ron Counts, and then we'll get BJ.
Spencer, congrats on the job. We saw in the statement that you called Andy a mentor of yours. Tell me about that relationship. Did you guys click right away when you guys worked together? Did it take some time? And what did you learn from him that you still kind of draw back on today?
Thanks, Ron. No, and first and foremost, guys, once again, just so excited for what's next. I cannot be more fired up for the future here at Boise State. So thank you for that, Ron. For me and Andy, so I came to Boise State because of being a graduate assistant for him. We met, so I was the linebackers recruiting coordinator at Azusa Pacific, as you guys know, and I met him through recruiting, and then was a graduate assistant with him, and then was promoted. So he's always been, and I say like he's like a big brother to me from a mentor standpoint. Andy has what I love about Andy, and there's a lot of things that I do, but he can hold people to a high standard, hold them accountable, but you always know that he cares about you deeply. And a lot of guys can't do that. It's either it's all smiles and it's all joke, or it's all this. Like Andy can hold people to a high standard, motivate them at a high level, but you never doubt how much he truly cares about you as a person. And that's something that, besides the tons of football that I've learned from him, recruiting, organization, that's something that I admire a ton from Andy that I've learned, and I'm always trying to work on.
So thinking back, did you always know you wanted to be a coach, or can you pinpoint a moment where you realized that that's where you wanted to take your career?
Yeah, so growing up in San Diego, I had a great high school coach, Chris Johnson. And when I was in high school, he would be that guy that always say, you're going to be a coach, you're going to be a coach. And as a young kid, 17, 18 years old, it was like, no, I want to go own a business, or I want to do this, or, you're in high school, want to play in the NFL. And I was a 6-foot quarterback that could throw the ball 40 yards. You know what I mean? So, but you just have those kind of things. But in the back of my mind, it was planted. And then with my time at Azusa Pacific, I was a part of great coaches, one of them, Victor Santa Cruz, and just seeing how instrumental he was in my life, changing it, not only just from a football standpoint, but even more importantly, off the field, and how I lived my life and how I was driven for a purpose bigger than myself, and not just living just to enjoy the moments, but what kind of impact you're going to leave when you're here, changed everything for me. And so probably when I was a junior on, is when it really clicked in my mind that, okay, when I'm done playing, I want to coach. If it's high school, if it's college, if it's some point wherever, NFL, but I want to coach, and I want to be a driving force and impacting other kids' lives through the avenue of football. Because that's the amazing thing about football is you immediately have a platform. And then as a coach, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to lead players to grow as men of character, grow as men of integrity, or are you just going to coach them as football players? When they're done, it's over. And that's something that I'm very, very passionate about. I'm going to be on these players. I'm going to be on them from football, academics, all these different things. But knowing that if they can grab hold of the fact that if you're not good at something right away, work on it, grow, fail, learn, grow, and this constant process of being relentless to get better. I mean, whatever they do in life, they're going to go play in the NFL. They're going to be great fathers. They're going to be great husbands. And I tell guys, that's the beautiful thing about football. And I know I'm going a little bit of a tangent, Ron, but I'm passionate about this, is in life, you can't take too many losses and everything be okay. You just can't. If you take too many losses as a husband, you're going to have you're going to have problems. If you take too many losses as a father, problem, and at a job. Yeah, I keep showing up late. I'm taking too many losses. You get fired. So teaching these guys just that constant process of how to be successful, not just that it just happens by the snap of a finger, but it's the process to become successful, to become a winner that competes to win in everything they do. All that being said is one of the key factors for me being a coach. So at a young age, it was something I was intrigued about, but probably as a junior on at Azusa Pacific is when it really clicked in my mind. Like, I want to do this. I want to teach these young men what it means to be successful and the process to get there, and been passionate for it ever since.
It's a really great mindset. And last one from me, there were a lot of reports about the opportunity you had at Auburn that had to be tough to pass up. What impact did your mentor taking over at Boise State have on you coming back to Boise State?
Great question, Ron. And obviously, we could be here all day talking about the past 3 weeks of my life with the different things. But for me, first and foremost, it was, when I was named the interim head coach, I took that responsibility very, very personal, and that I wanted to do it the right way. And so wanting to finish this interim all the way until the next head coach come, whoever it was. Obviously, I thought that Andy would have a really good shot as he should, but there are some other candidates in there that I don't know personally, but I've heard great things about as well. So through the process, and I have the utmost respect for Coach Harsin. I was so blessed to be in a situation to have a job offer like that. But when it came to it, I just felt called to stay here for these players, stay here for this place. And it was something that it was hard to do because of my respect for Coach Harsin and what he's going to do down there. But I also felt at peace about it. And just that, hey, I made the right decision. However this thing shakes down, I'm at peace with this decision I made, and excited for whatever's next.
Thanks, man. Congrats again.
Thanks, Ron.
So did you actually accept the job offer at Auburn, and then things changed when the Avalos came, or did you just kind of said I need to wait, or what was kind of the timeline on how all that went down? No,
great question, BJ. For me, I'm a huge what you say you're going to do, and I know, and obviously everybody talks about it, and that's something, and so no, I didn't. It was something, and Coach Harsin was very understanding. We talked throughout the whole process. Like I said, I got the utmost respect for him and what he does, and so I just told him, Coach, I can't say yes or no until I've kind of walked through this process and finished this interim the right way and really passed off the reins to this next head coach. And he was completely understanding of that. And then as it got closer to the end of it, we had a really good conversation. I forget if it was Wednesday or Thursday. And he's like, Spence, I care about you a ton. I want you here. And And I wasn't going to be a guy that, all right, I'm going to tell coach yes and then see what turns out at Boise and then maybe turn it down. I'm like, I just felt in my soul that I respect coach and I want to be up front with him. And at that point in the process, I felt at peace with finishing the interim head coach, trying to stay at Boise State to see whatever that looked like. And so at that point, that's why I turned it down. But no, I didn't. It definitely wasn't one of those games where it was accept and then no. And I really didn't want to do that because of my respect for him and wanting to be a man that when I say I'm in with something, you can count on Spencer being there.
You think about, being at Azusa Pacific and then, being 4 years ago, you're a GA here. And then you think about, being 32 now and the amount of money you're making and the responsibility you have. I mean, what's this like to be where you're at your stage in your career now, the defensive coordinator at a school like Boise State? It's got to be pretty crazy if you think back to your path to get to this point.
No doubt, BJ. And first and foremost, I want to always say, I am so humbled by this opportunity. I mean, I am so humbled by it. I am so thankful for it. I am so blessed for it. It's something that I've prayed for and really obviously wanted. It's been a legitimate dream of mine to be in the seat I'm in now. And obviously I understand the responsibility. I understand what it means, this place. I understand how I'm going to be held accountable to it. Completely understand all those things. And, and a lot of people have asked me the same thing, BJ, and I appreciate you asking the question of, man, it happened so quick and all that. And for me, I've been the product of a lot of great coaches and people around me, players included. I was blessed to be around great players, great coaches that helped mold me and prepare me for the moments that I had. And I think as you prepare for the moment you're in and you really are where your feet are and you're working your tail off to do the best job that you have, more times than not, other opportunities will slowly come. If you're always looking for the next thing and, well, why can't I be there? Or how can I use this to get to this? Sometimes you just don't end up doing a good job with what you're given, and your responsibility that you're given struggles. And so, I can't shy away from the fact that I am just, like I said, so blessed these opportunities, but I am the product of great coaches, great people around me, a great support staff, a great people that can surround me and help me grow, know what I know, ask questions when I don't. And like I said, I'm here because of those people. And I'll always be the one to say it. I'm also so thankful. I believe that God works in mysterious ways and his hands upon all this. So I'm just very blessed.
Go Jay Tust and then Mike Prater.
Spencer, congrats.
So Jay, thank you.
Spencer, it has been a crazy 3 weeks for you. Let's go back to the beginning, though. What was it like becoming a dad?
Oh, man, it was everything that I was told is true. That's what I tell guys. Everything I was told is true. Going into it, Jay, it was so. And like I said, I might go a little long on this question because that's a great question, Jay. So me and my wife, when we got pregnant, and they said, December 23rd was our due date. And so we're like, oh, and we were at the point, and not being too open, but me and my wife really wanted a child. And so it was like, man, even if something happens and we have a child in season, we'll make it work, all those things. And so in December 23rd came back, and then, okay, could be a bowl game, but it's pretty good timing. And then as we're getting up into the San Jose State game, we're about a week out from the due date. And so, it's in that Thursday time, and I'm talking with my wife, Rachel, and she's like, no, doctor says we're good. You can go to the game. And Coach Harsin was great. Like, you do what you got to do. And so we come back Saturday night. Sunday, we have meetings here. We're kind of meeting with the team as we essentially finish that season. And I literally get home from the facility, sit on the couch, start talking to my wife, and she goes into labor like that. It was like on a dime. I'm like, whoa, okay. And I was getting ready to go to bed and sleep and get ready for the next day. And we're rolling down to St. Luke's. And it was just an amazing experience. My daughter, Eleanor Ray, was born on December 21st. And it's just an amazing experience. The next day, so we're still in hospital. My wife's on the hospital bed. I'm sitting here. We're going through all the different tests. And that's when, and I don't have my phones on me. So I'm probably the last person to know that Coach Harsin was leaving out everybody because I didn't have my phones. I'm focused on the hearing test and these different things. And so I get back to my phone. I got 150 text messages, and I'm like, what just happened? You know what I'm saying? And And then, Brad Larondo and Coach Harsin hit me up, and we have a really great chat. But I'm sitting right there. My wife's looking at me. She's sitting talking to the doctor. Like, everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, yep, everything's great, babe. We're good. It was just one of those things that I will never forget, that look at her face. And I'm looking at her, she's looking at me. And so it was, that was a little bit crazy. But the whole experience of having a child now, 3 weeks in, she is amazing. She steals my heart. She steals my sleep. And I love every bit of it. And my wife, Rachel, some of you guys have met her. I mean, she's an absolute rock star. She does everything. I'm her support, and I'll change a couple diapers every once in a while when she tags me in. So it's been awesome. Thanks for asking, Jay.
Yeah. I went through this not that long ago.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you had the chance to leave the hospital before you were tabbed the interim head coach. So what did that honor mean to you? And then what was your initial message to the team to kind of steady things in a time where there were a lot of questions being asked?
100%, Jay. So when I got home from the hospital Tuesday night, we got home, roughly probably around 7:30. And then I was called by administration around 8, asking me if I would be interested in it. They had a meeting, and they wanted me to be the interim head coach and help kind of lead the program into the next phase with the new head coach comes in. And right away, same thing like I told you guys, I was just so humbled by the opportunity. And when they talked to me about it, they're like, you're the guy that we keep hearing that, has the utmost, the players respect you the utmost. What this place is supposed to do, what it's supposed to look like. And a monster dream of mine, which it is for a lot of people, is to be a head coach. And so having that opportunity then, especially at a place that I keep saying that I love dearly, I love these kids, I was just so humbled by the honor, and I took it with a lot of intensity because it matters to me. And so the next day I was able to hop on Zoom with our players, and my message to them, Jay, first and foremost, is just, guys, we are in this together. And so although, when the head coach leaves, and this is the first time I've ever been a part of a head coach transition, everything kind of feels like everything's awry. And like there's nothing that they can be sure about. And that was what I wanted to tell them, like, guys, what I can promise you, I don't have the answers you're looking for. I don't know who's going to be the AD. I don't know who's going to be the new head coach. But what I can promise you is I got your back. And I can promise you when anything changes, you're going to hear from me. So you don't need to be worrying about anything else. If you don't hear from me, we're pushing to find the best AD, the best head coach to continue to make this place great and make your experience great. And so that was my message to them. And I would just constantly hit them up, text them, just that, hey, I got your guys back. We are in this together. Stay in the fight. Like, guys, don't go in the transfer portal. Don't let people, because that is a time where some different coach will come in and try and get you to go to different schools because there's no head coach and there's a lot of different things going on. And I was like, guys, let's not do that. Like, we're in this together. We know how much we all love this place. That's why we are all here. And you didn't sign to Bryan Harsin. You signed to Boise State. And you came here because of Boise State. And so long story short, that was my message. I got your back. We are in this together, and the best is still to come for us.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks, Jay.
Prater and then Will Hall.
Hey, Spencer, congratulations. Looking forward to this. This is going to be fun.
Thanks, Mike.
We're about to meet Tim Plough and the new offensive coordinator. And I don't know if you guys have any kind of history at all. Maybe just touch on that a little bit. But my bigger question is, a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, how much do those two have to work together? And how much is that relationship intertwined as you try to do what you need to do on the football field?
Good question, Mike. I know Tim. I don't know him very well. I've met him a couple times just through coaching circles. But I will tell you one thing about Tim. I mean, I have heard just glowing evaluations about him from guys I respect a ton in this business, from not only the amount of points he scores and how dynamic his offense is, but just also who he is to work for and who he is as a person. So I've met him one time before this, and I cannot be more excited about what he's going to do with our offense, what he's going to do with those certain weapons back there. I mean, he's going to light it up, and I have no doubt about it. And to your second point, Mike, it's crucial, especially from a practice setting to how because at the end of the day, it's how is the team going to do this together? It's not, okay, offense is going to try and score 1 million points. We're just going to try and stop them, and they just go do that on their own side. Like, it's how are we working together? And Tim understands that. Obviously, first and foremost, Andy understands that. And he understands what it's going to take to win a team game, not just defensively, not just offensively, not just special teams. How can we do this together? And I literally was in a meeting earlier today where he was just saying the same thing, like, how can we do this? And we're going to have to collaborate, because it's all about how we can win games together and not just be great on one side of the ball or the other. And so the collaboration amongst coordinators, amongst the special teams coordinator, and then first and foremost from the top down, from Andy to us, that communication and being on the same page is crucial.
I know kickoff for September is a long ways off, and you need to dive into the nitty-gritty of this defense. I know you're also dying to get into that nitty-gritty of the defense. One specific question about takeaways. How frustrating was the lack of takeaways this past season? And how much have you thought about that right now? Because you talked about being relentless. I mean, takeaways start with being relentless. And how much of that can play into more takeaways? I know takeaways can sometimes be cyclical, but how much thought have you put into that? And how much are you ready to go in and make that better?
Good question, Mike. No, creating takeaways is monstrous with playing good defense. It just is. Getting the ball back, stealing possessions. And it's something that we have been frustrated about with last season, the lack of them. And we as a coaching staff last year, and even throughout even some of the time in the holidays, just going back to see, what are some ways that we can do that more? Is it something we can drill? Is there certain calls we can put our guys into play with more vision? Can we drill a chase tackle, strip the ball out? But to your point, and I think first and foremost, takeaways start with being relentless, that pursuit to the football, because, ball's in the air tipped. If you're thinking about it, when it's in the air, it's going to drop. If you're always relentless to the ball and you have that relentless mindset, good things are going to happen that way. And, there's no such thing as luck if you play with effort. Luck will follow effort. I'm a firm believer in that. It will follow being relentless, which will lead to takeaways. So, but to your point, Mike, 100%. I mean, we need to create more takeaways. It's at the forefront of our list, and it's something that we're going to completely peel back and see how can we do it. Is it something we need to drill differently, something we need to drill better, certain calls? So definitely something we're going to be working on.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thanks, Mike.
Will, and then Johnny, if you've got something after Will.
Hey, Spence, congratulations on multiple levels. I was just curious, what's your bond like with Andy? How strong is it?
Thanks again, Will. It is very strong, and I have the utmost respect for him, first and foremost as a person, as a husband, as a father to his 2 little girls, as a husband to Summer. I have the utmost respect for him there, and obviously the utmost respect for him as a football coach, a football mind. I just do. And I've learned so much from him over the years, as a graduate assistant for him, as a position coach for him, and now as his defensive coordinator. Because even when he was at Oregon, I'd constantly call him and pick his brain from a schematic standpoint, or, what are you guys doing with this? Or even with COVID, like, how are you guys practicing this with the different regulations? So extremely strong bond with Andy. I have the utmost respect for him. And he's a guy, and I've told him this for a long time, I will always have his back. And he's a guy that I just respect a ton, and I cannot be more excited to work for.
Talk with so many former Broncos in your short time that you've been in Boise since 2017, guys like Curtis and Jabril, and they always mention with you, you're like a father figure to them. What's that mean to you?
I mean, to me, Will, that's the biggest thing for me. And like I was talking, for me, it all comes back to the impact you have on these young men. And obviously, I understand the seat I'm in, and we have to play good defense, win games, or I'm not going to be sitting here. I completely understand that. It's the role I'm in, and I cannot be more excited for it. But for me, and what I'm extremely passionate about is helping push these men to be champions in life and teach them how to win in everything they do. And not that you always do, because you're gonna get kicked in the teeth every once in a while. But what is my process to learn from that situation and make sure I don't do it again? Socially, athletically, all those different things. And so when guys say that, and I've had a couple players over the years say that in their own way, and I'm still close with a lot of them. To me, that's just so affirming, because like my mission and why I do this, we're doing the right things and we're on the right track. And I want to continue to do that as long as I'm in this profession, because it really is my vocation. It's something I feel called to do by the Lord above. And I'm going to keep running my race as fast as I can until I'm not doing anymore. And so hearing those things, and when guys tell me that, it's monstrous to me.
Thanks, Spence. Congrats.
Thanks, Will.
Johnny, and then Corinne, if you got something.
Yeah, congrats, Spence. This is awesome,
Thank
man. What do you think your greatest strengths are as a coach? What makes Spencer Danielson the right guy at this time for this gig?
Great question, John. Not something I've thought about a lot, but one thing that I'm very proud of, and something that I've learned over the years, and is I believe I'm an elite connector with people, and not that there's still a lot of things I can grow in there, but I focus a lot on when I'm with someone one-on-one, if it's from here to in a one-on-one setting, to a team room, to a meeting, to on the field, being able to connect with someone on a deep level to where they truly understand how intense I am with what I'm saying, as well as that they can trust me with what I'm saying, that they can take it to the bank. So that's something that I'm very proud of. There's obviously a lot of things that I want to be able to grow in, even in that, and I've got so much to grow in and learn, but very confident in how I can connect with guys, motivate them, lead them, get a group of young men and even a staff on the same page and on the same mission, on the same vision to where we're going. Those are some things that I'm very confident in, would be the better way to say it. And those are things that I'm continually trying to fine tune as we go forward. Thanks, John.
Corinne?
Spencer, I have a question.
Leon Rice, ladies and gentlemen.
Idaho Tribune. And I want to see a lot of turnovers. I want to see a lot of killing quarterbacks.
Come on.
That's when we've been the best. Can I speak on behalf of the fans? We're happy to have you, and go Broncos.
Thanks, Leon. Appreciate you, Coach Rice.
Got hijacked. Sorry.
I thought that was BJ. Sorry. What's up?
Corinne, go ahead.
Hey, Spencer. Congrats on the new gig.
Thank you.
Between you and Andy and Tim, you guys have a young coaching staff. What advantages do you see being some younger guys? And do you have any concerns about you guys maybe not having as much experience as other coaching staffs?
Question, Corinne. I know, and even Andy actually answered this question a couple days ago. Someone was asking it to him. And I think the biggest thing in coaching, it's not, there's some great coaches that are in their 60s. There's some that are even in their late 20s. For me, and I know for Andy, it's all about finding the right ones. And that was what he was trying to do as he went to find his coordinators. And even as we were talking, I'm all about finding the right coach, not just the one that people might want, or the one that has this much coaching or this little bit of it. And so I really feel confident and very excited with the staff he put together, that yes, we might be a little bit younger than some staffs, but we're the right ones. And we're the ones that we know how to catch hold of the vision that Andy's going to present to us and run with it and disseminate it into our certain sections. So very excited about it. And it's something that we also understand. And we've got some guys in our staff that can help. And it's also one of those things too. And I think just as a coach or as a leader, be confident in what you know, but also have the humility to know what you don't know, and know when you could ask questions, and know when to be like, you know what? I know someone that's gone through this exact situation. Instead of just trying to force my way through and, hey, listen to me, I'm going to go call him and see, hey, how'd you handle this? And being humble enough to ask those questions, but being confident enough to know what you do know, and know when you want to stick to your guns and what you're supposed to do. So definitely excited about the staff he's put together.
All right, guys. That's all we got time for with Spencer. I'm going to go grab Tim, and we'll be right back.
Hey, really appreciate you guys, man. And on
All right, guys. I'll introduce to you our new offensive coordinator, Tim Plough, and we will start with Jay Tust.
Recording in progress.
How's it going, guys?
Jay, you ready?
Sorry, Tim. Congrats on the job. How's it going?
Jay. Yeah, it's going well. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Obviously, just trying to learn a little bit about you right now. But what can you tell me about being a finder of joy?
Yeah, that kind of goes back to really the connection of UC Davis and Boise State and kind of the path of how I got here. But Jim Soker is a Hall of Fame football coach, coached at UC Davis for a long time, and became my mentor when I started coaching. But he also was a mentor and a coach of Chris Peterson and Dan Hawkins and some of those great Broncos. So he was the one that taught me when I was a younger guy that, life really is about detaching from the results and focusing on just finding joy every day. And, happiness and sadness are really result-oriented emotions, right? Like if I catch the ball for a touchdown, I'm happy. If I drop that pass, I'm sad. And we try to teach everyone to detach from the results and just focus on the process, which hopefully will lead us to joy. And that helps you lead a real balanced life. And I think even in this day and age, kids got a lot of stuff to go through. We have a lot of stuff going on right now. And if we can focus on that, usually it helps you live a real balanced life. So that's kind of the find joy mentality, but got that from Coach Soker. And that's, again, going back to kind of the whole connection here.
You obviously are connected to some names that mean a lot to Bronco history. Dan Hawkins and Chris Peterson being two of the biggest ones. I saw that you once spent 2 weeks in Seattle studying with Chris Peterson and his offense. What did you take from that? And then how did all those connections also lead you to Andy Avalos and ultimately being his offensive coordinator?
Right. Being a great coach, I think part of that is pushing yourself to extend your network, trying to meet more people. I made a decision 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe one day that I was going to meet Chris Peterson. Like that was kind of a goal of mine as a young coach. Like there's a connection there somehow, and I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen. And it wasn't that hard. I sent him an email one day and he got back to me like that, which I think speaks to the man he is. And so we just started a relationship, small friendship that way. And as I continued to grow in the coaching world, he would just send me little letters to get better and what I could do. And had some success, obviously, at Davis. And him and Coach Hawkins are obviously really close. And I think he just wanted to bring his staff out and we could trade ideas and just talk football. And sometimes it's easier for, a Pac-12 program to do that with a Big Sky program because they know we're not going to play each other and there's not going to be anyone stealing anything. And so it really was a give and take there of us learning from them and them learning from us. And I think that our relationship grew from that point, and he wanted to bring me out to Seattle. So I came out there a couple of times just to, again, kind of shadow him and watch the program. And I really feel like the values of a coach, from him, I really learned the mastery, how to be a master coach, how to be a master teacher, and what true excellence looks like. To see that on a daily basis from him, I took a huge leap, I think, as a coach. And then having him as a mentor and a friend from that point on, I think has led me to be honest, a lot of the opportunities I've had in coaching the last couple of years have come because he believes in me and wanted to reach out to other people and let them know he thought I was a good coach. And I'm super grateful for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, congrats.
Thank you.
Next up, Bob Beeler, and then Ron Counts. You're muted, Bob.
Tim, welcome to Boise. Glad to have you on staff here as the offensive coordinator. What can we envision to see in an offense for Boise State? What are the things that sort of identify you as an offensive coordinator?
Right. I think, well, the first one is we want to be explosive, and we want to try to get as many explosive plays as possible. You know, I think the easiest way to win a football game is to get more explosive plays than your opponent and to win the turnover battle. If you do those two things, you're going to win 98% of your games based on those numbers. So we're going to be super aggressive. We're not going to wait for the defense to show us something. We're going to attack the defense and make them react to us. And I hope that breeds confidence in our guys. Hope that's exciting football for everyone to watch. So the first thing I would say is we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be attack-minded and look for explosive plays, but in the world of precision as well. We want to be precise in how we do that. And so, again, I think sometimes I get saddled as the passing guy because we have thrown for a lot of yards, which is great. And we're going to do that here. We're going to have great quarterback play. But it's going to be a balanced offense that's going to attack the defense as much as possible and put them in some situations that make them uncomfortable. But it'll be an exciting brand, hopefully, for everyone to watch.
Now, Tim, as you come in taking over, what is your preparation? Are you going to watch every game from last season? How are you going to get yourself ready to understand the different pieces you have to work with?
Well, obviously, there's talent here. I mean, there's been talent here for a long time, and there's obviously been success here for a long time. So, you know, what I don't want to do is think I'm going to come in here and mess any of that up or change that. I think the first thing I want to do is just get to know everybody and introduce myself and try to become a part of the community. And I really believe that's what's next, right? It's re-engaging with the community and becoming part of this great town and great city. And so that's probably the first thing for me is just introducing myself and letting everybody know how fortunate I feel to be here and how lucky I feel to be here. But then with the football stuff, I need to get to know the roster. I need to get to know the players, earn their trust, make sure that they believe in me. And I want them to know that I care about them beyond football. And hopefully that will lead us to some success. So I think it's more about that really than any of the scheme stuff. That will take care of itself.
Thank you.
Ron and then BJ.
Tim, congrats on getting the job and welcome to Boise.
Thank you.
You were an OC at 25 years old. What was it like to only be a few years older than some of the guys you were calling plays for? And what did you learn from that experience that you still draw on today?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Again, I was super fortunate. Our head coach, Bob Biggs, and our offensive coordinator, Mike Morosky at the time. I know Coach Morosky lives up here now at College of Idaho. They came to me on a Friday. We were playing before a game when I was 25, like you said. I think it was our second game of the year. And they said, hey, why don't you just call the plays tomorrow? You got a bright future, and we're kind of at the end of our road, and we want to do everything we can to help you. So why don't you call the plays? And it's a shocking thing. And obviously a lot of mistakes along the way. But I think they knew the only way that I was going to grow and learn is if I did it. And so I think the biggest thing I learned was just how to call a football game, how to manage the game from an offensive coordinator perspective. There's a lot of power in that role, how to control the game from the offensive side and how to help the entire team that way. So to be able to do that at a young age, it was just a blessing. And I've been super fortunate to have, again, people in my life. We talked about Coach Peterson and Coach Hawkins and Coach Morosky, but all these great guys that saw something in me and they were willing to go out on a limb for me. And so I feel very tied into that. And I feel like, it's my job to prove them right.
I've been told that you've passed on FCS head jobs in the past. You've passed on a couple of opportunities at Power 5 gigs. What was it about this opportunity at Boise State that convinced you this was the right fit for you?
Well, similar to Coach Avalos, right? He's coming home, and it's important to him. UC Davis, that's my home, and that place is very important to me. And my wife went to school there, and it was really my thought that I was just going to stay there forever and be the head coach, and that was really what we had planned. Because in this business, I think a lot of guys can get lost in stuff that doesn't really matter, money, fame, whatever. And I never wanted to get caught up in that stuff. And the way I was brought up by the coaches I was around was it's more about the people, not about the status. And I was around great people. And so it was going to take something fantastic to get me out of that situation. And this is truly an extraordinary opportunity for me to be around someone I really respect. Andy Avalos is a fantastic coach, but an even better person, a great father, a great husband. And for him to reach out to me and have belief in me, that meant a lot. And I just felt like this community is very similar to the one I've been around and forever. And so if I am going to make that jump and give it a shot, why not be somewhere where I know my family will be taken care of and I'll get to work for somebody that I really believe in. And so it just seemed like a perfect fit and really good timing. And Coach Hawkins obviously loves Boise State. And so it was just a perfect timing, really, the right time.
Did you know Andy or had you worked with him at all before you got the job?
It's funny. We were laughing about it. Obviously we know each other, but we never really hung out or had a lot of conversations. We have a lot of friends within the business that are mutual, but we've never really crossed paths other than I know he was on the Sac State Hornets when we beat them a long time ago. I like to remind him of that. But other than that, we've just have a lot of mutual friends. And so there was a lot of rumors that, when he got it, that I might be someone he was interested in, but I didn't really know if that would be the case because we hadn't really talked. And again, when he reached out to me, that meant a lot because I've respected him from afar for a long time. And we obviously have a lot of the same mentors. So again, I just think it was a good fit, right time.
Thank you.
Yep.
BJ and then Prater.
Hey, Tim, welcome to town. Look forward to working with you. Just kind of curious, you mentioned kind of the talent and the quarterback position and just the offense in general is obviously a big tradition at Boise State. And with that comes, a little bit of pressure in terms of fans wanting to score 50 points a game and all that kind of stuff. How do you look at what you're stepping into in terms of expectations, pressure, that kind of stuff to be running the Boise State offense?
Yeah, expectations are great, right? I mean, and we do have a lot to live up to, but I really think it's more about us. It's not about anything outside of what we're trying to do. And again, detaching from the results and not putting a number on it and just focusing on playing really well. If we play well, we'll score a lot of points. If we don't, we won't. But I've been a part of teams where we didn't play well and we won the game. I've been a part of teams where we played really well and lost the game. And so I think it's just more about focusing on us and focusing on the details and being precise about what we're doing, but also loving the offense that we're a part of, buying into the whole process of it. That's going to lead to us playing really well and scoring a bunch of points. But you're right, the expectations are high. I've had a saying for a long time, like, hey, we're not even going to look at the scoreboard until we have half 100, right? Like hashtag half 100. And I've had some fans already tell me like hashtag half 100 may not be enough, like they expect more than half 100. So I totally get that. We're going to do our best to put as many points up there as we can, but we shouldn't feel any pressure that way. We should be really fortunate to be here and just enjoy that whole process.
In terms of being the quarterbacks coach too, obviously Boise State has, multiple quarterbacks that have played and done some big things here. What's kind of your philosophy, I guess, with the quarterbacks? I know you're new to the roster, so you probably haven't watched a ton of either Bachmeier or Sears, but what are just your thoughts on the quarterback position here and how you approach that?
Listen, I'm a football fan, football fanatic probably, so a lot of these guys, I may not have been involved in recruiting because, they were going to play at a higher level, but I watched all these guys in high school and I evaluated all these guys in high school. And so I got a chance to talk to all of them on the phone yesterday. Obviously there's a lot of talent in that room. So I feel almost like I know those guys just because I spent so much time evaluating them, but to be able to coach guys like that and be around them, the quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. And, I really feel like it's important to develop a culture in that room. And that culture should really seep out into the rest of the team. That culture in that room needs to be extremely strong. We want to be able to support each other, which is difficult sometimes in the quarterback room because only one guy plays. But my big thing is we're going to develop a culture where we support each other, but we're going to play really well in that room. And I expect us to be an elite group. There's been elite quarterback play here for a long time, and it's really going to be important that does not change. And they know that, I know that, and we're going to be held to a high standard every day. And I look forward to working with them because they have the talent to be really special, and we'll get that talent pointed in the right direction.
Prater and then Will.
Hey, Tim, welcome to Boise.
Thank you.
You've talked about quarterbacks for a little bit. I wanted to get just a little bit more specific, and I'm not sure how much you can say, but Hank Bachmeier, Jack Sears, there's two good quarterbacks on this roster. Have you had a chance to talk to them? Have you had a chance to sit down? And I guess the big elephant in the room is, do you expect both of these guys to come back?
Well, I have talked to both of them, not in person, obviously, but I think both guys are extremely talented. Both guys obviously have a lot of positives when you're working with guys like that. And they both really want to play. And they both have expressed that to me, how important Boise State is to them and how important this program is to them. So I can't speak on guys staying or leaving. I do know that hopefully they understand that, this is a great place, a wonderful school, wonderful culture, wonderful city. And I hope that they want to be a part of that. And I hope they want to be a part of that, not just for how much they play, but they want to be a part of the entirety of that. And in talking to those guys, I don't see any reason to believe that they wouldn't. And so obviously they're both really talented. They're both going to compete really hard and see where that gets them. I'm excited to work with both of them. This is a good problem. This is a good problem to have two really good quarterbacks. And I know that sometimes we want to create more of that than it is, but you've seen multiple teams now over the past 10, 20 years win national championships with multiple quarterbacks, because nowadays you're going to need more than one. So I just want to make sure we connect on a deeper level than just football. And I'm going to push those guys to be their very best. And I told them yesterday that I really believe whatever their full potential is, I'll get them there. If that's first round draft pick, I'll get them there. If that's the best backup in the Mountain West, I'll get them there. I mean, whatever their full potential is, I'm pretty confident I can do that.
Football coaches are all about growth, and you're going to make the transition from FCS to FBS. Is there any growth in terms of making that transition, or at the end of the day, is football?
I think there's two answers to that question. I mean, obviously football is football. I really believe that if you know the game and you study the game and you work really hard, you can coach football. There's high school coaches out there that are fantastic. And there's coaches at higher levels that probably aren't that great. I mean, if you think about it, if you can coach ball, you can coach ball. But I will say this, having the opportunity to just be here for a day and seeing the amount of support we have, it kind of takes your breath away from a guy that's been at an FCS level for a long time. Like, just my wife was joking the other day, like, hey, you're not going to have to break down your own film, and you're not going to have to make your own play sheet, and you might get to come home on Thursday, Friday night, because you're not doing all that stuff by yourself. And I think having those guys around here and that support around here, that's an advantage that I'm not used to having. So I think that's been really cool for me to see, is how much help we have around here and how great the facilities are. And I think that's going to make hopefully me even better, is being around that and being around this program, being around great coaches. I'm just going to soak all that in and try to become even better and hopefully continue to grow, like you said, and be the best coach I can be.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Will, and then Johnny.
Hey, Tim, congratulations and welcome to Boise. Reached out to Coach Morosky yesterday, and he said you were the best hire that Boise State could make. What's that mean to you, and how would you describe your bond with him?
Coach Morosky is he's like a father to me. He's just a wonderful person for those that don't know him, and he has been as big of a contributor to anything I've done in football as anyone I've been around. And he's always been super supportive of me, and he's been the one guy really pushing me to leave Davis, not for any negative reasons, but I just think he wants me to grow and wants to see me do well. And so I know that he's super excited. I'm excited to be around him, so I'll get to see him, and he'll get to meet my sons when they get up here. And so all that stuff's really cool. What a fantastic coach, what a fantastic person. And obviously they've had success there too, and I'm not surprised by that. So a real bonus of being here is being around him, but very humbled by those comments, and he means a lot to me. I hope I can prove him right.
Obviously, your offenses at UC Davis put up a lot of numbers. One thing that stood out to me is the last 2 years, Alonzo Gilliam had at least 57 catches each of the last 2 years. How would you describe the role your running backs play in your offense?
Yeah, it's huge. It is a huge role. We were just talking about it a couple minutes ago, how important that position is. Need guys that can catch the football, need guys that can make somebody miss, need somebody that is the most trustworthy guy on the team, right? Someone that when you hand the ball to, you feel like they're going to hand it back to us. And so Lonzo is a fantastic player. We've had some good running backs in the past places I've been, and I know we got some good ones here. But yeah, if you play running back at Boise State for the Broncos, you're going to be a guy that's going to catch a lot of passes. You're going to run for over 1,000 yards. You're going to be a big part of what we do. And we got some talented ones here, and I know we're going to keep getting talented ones in the future. But it's the linchpin of what we do. And if you see our offensive style, you know, that the teams around the the country and even the NFL teams. You know, if you have a great running back that can create a matchup like that, it's one that you'll use a lot.
Thanks, Tim. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats, Coach. The Davis to Boise pipeline, it's almost like they're sister institutions or something when it comes to football. Are we going to see some similarities in your offense that are, Boise traits, things that you've learned, vice versa? Is your offense going to have some Boise State in it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's clearly a connection, a deep connection over many years, like you said, of the coaching styles, but also the schemes. And a lot of the things I've learned and been taught for a long time have come from guys that coached here. So you will see some similarities. You will see plays probably that you've seen before. And I'm not afraid to say that. I don't think we want to come in here necessarily change a bunch of things, but like I said, you will see, if anything, maybe just a little more tempo, a little more up tempo with how we do things, maybe a little bit more aggressive nature with how we attack the defense. But other than that, there'll be a lot of similarities for sure in how we do things.
Describe your recruiting style and quarterbacks in particular. What's been your pitch, coach, to a quarterback saying, this is how we're going to develop you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that stands out is I want the player and the family to know that for me, it's about relationships, and it goes far beyond football. I think you want to develop a tight-knit group there, and I want them to know that I care about them, that I love them, and that I'm okay saying that word, that it goes far beyond how many touchdowns they're going to throw, that I'm going to develop them as a man too, and develop them as people. So that's the first thing. The second part of that is, I love the position. I'm well-versed in the position. If you look at the amount of years I've been doing it, had a lot of successful guys. And he's even telling those dudes last night, like, hey, if you buy into what we're doing, the proof is in the pudding. You'll be successful. And the system that we teach and the way we teach the quarterback, I would put that up against any teaching in the country. And you're going to see our quarterbacks handle protections. You're going to see them audible at the line of scrimmage. You're going to see them control the game like an NFL quarterback. And so if you want to play in the NFL, this will be a place you're going to want to come, because we're going to train you from day one how to be successful at the highest level.
Corinne, did you have one?
Hey, congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
I know that you've talked about in the past that when you were an athlete, you had dealt with some injuries and dealt with it even a couple of years after being a player. From that perspective, how is that going to help you coaching the offense this year?
Yeah, I think I'm really glad you asked that question. Mental health is something that I feel very strongly about, because I had my own struggles with that when I was a lot younger, and it came from the injuries and not having success. And again, really focusing on the results and how I went from being this great player to all of a sudden I'm this injured guy that can't get on the field, and how that affected my life and my well-being. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. My wife and I are very passionate about that. And I really think that's why I wanted to become a coach at the end of the day, is try to reach those kids that are struggling a little bit. Cause I see that. I can see it when they're going through something, and I want to reach those guys and try to help them find joy on a daily basis and teach them what that's all about. Because not everyone's going to be the star football player. Not everyone's going to be the draft pick. And I just want them to know that I'm going to care about them as much as I'm going to care about, the best player on the team. And so I think that has helped me be a better coach, a better mentor, is going through all that. And again, I wouldn't have probably gotten out of that, in the way that I did without Coach Soker, without Coach Biggs and Coach Morosky and Coach Peterson and Coach Hawkins and all these guys that have wrapped their arms around me. They've helped me learn that, but also they've continued to push me to be my best. But yeah, that's a great question, because that is important to me and my family. And I do think it's what's helped me be a better coach.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have today. Appreciate you guys.
Recording
Tim,
stopped.
Awesome. Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys in a bit.
Thanks,
Tim,
guys.
thanks.
Thanks, Tim.